Ladies and gentlemen, it is not just a big day, it is a huge day because as you guys can see, what is going on your screen right now is Black Ops Cold War gameplay. And I have played the game. Last week I got invited out to like an alpha event. We got to play a build of the game, see different maps, weapons, characters, basically exactly how the multiplayer for Black Ops Cold War is going to work. And I can tell you all about it today. So in this video, what we're going to be doing is going through all of the weapons that were in the build of the game that I played, talking about all of them. Of course, this is not going to be all of the weapons that are in the final game. These are just all of them that have been confirmed and you can see in game. And literally, I have gameplay with every single one of them, so you'll be able to get a feel for what you're going to be working with come Black Ops Cold War. Now, later today, I am also going to be having a second video go up where we go over everything else. Perks, wildcards, score streaks. There is a completely new score streak system that we're going to go over later today. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. We're on the road to 1 million subscribers, and looking at my analytics, only about 35% of the people who normally watch my videos are actually subscribed. So if you want to join me on the road to 1 million, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on. We have so much coming with Black Ops Cold War. This is just the beginning. On top of this, later today at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be going live over on Twitch and doing a Q&A. If you have any questions whatsoever about it, I'll be answering them over there. So if you want to check that out, that is the first link down in the description. And like I said, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Now I've talked a lot, so let me shut up and let's look at every single weapon that was in the alpha build of Black Ops Cold War. So as of right now, I am not allowed to show any menu footage, so I can't show you the guns and what they look like in the menu. However, I am able to show you gameplay of all of them. The other thing I wanted to explain to you guys is how the create a class specifically for weapons works. It is like Gunsmith in Modern Warfare. You can have 5 attachments on all your weapons at any time, and there's a wild card that you can use that actually allows you to have up to 8 attachments on a given weapon. So you can fully customize your weapons, and almost every single weapon you'll see me using here, I am actually using 5 attachments on those weapons. Now, that's pretty much it. That's all you need to know about weapon customization, but we are going to go into that a little bit further in the create a class system in today's video later on. But as far as weapons, let's start out with the assault rifles. So the first weapon that we have here is called the XM4. This is honestly like a combination between an M4A1 and a Commando from previous Black Ops games. It has a little bit slower of a fire rate than your normal M4, and it hits a little bit harder than your normal M4. I also noticed that it has a little bit more recoil like the Commando from Black Ops 1. All in all, it's a decent weapon, but from my time playing the game, I've noticed that SMGs kind of reign supreme in the fully automatic weapons. It's also important to note that the health in this game is 150. It's still a relatively quick time to kill, but generally speaking, it seemed to be like one more bullet to kill than Modern Warfare. So after this, we have a weapon called the Krig 6. Now, this one in real life is called the AK-5C, and to me, it feels a little bit like the Galil. I don't really know why. It doesn't look too much like it. Just based off of the fire rate and everything that goes along with it, that's what I can best equate it to. You guys may completely disagree with that. It has only a 30 round magazine. The damage drop off seemed to be very little. It has a little bit more recoil, I would say, than the XM4, but that's kind of this weapon. I think if you have the right attachments, it could end up being really good at long range, but we'll have to wait and see. As of right now, I just say it's kind of an average weapon. And then finally, we have the AK-47. This shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. This has probably been in some of the most Call of Duty games out of any weapons. And this was honestly my favorite assault rifle, which I was kind of surprised by. For an AK, it had relatively low recoil. I was using recoil control attachments on it, but I enjoyed the iron sights, and to me, it put out the most damage the fastest, and actually a pretty good fire rate for an AR. So really enjoyed this one, and like I said, probably my favorite AR. So next, moving on to the SMGs. So the first one we have here is the MP5. Again, shouldn't be of any surprise. I have to say, it's not as good as the MP5 in Modern Warfare, but it's still really good. All of the SMGs seem to be, it seemed like their aim down sights and sprint out times were so good that it kind of put them at the top tier. Also, they didn't seem to have a crazy high damage drop off over range, except for one of them, what we're going to talk about in a second. But all in all, it has a fast enough fire rate where it shreds at close range and is a lot of fun to use. So all in all, MP5 is a good weapon. The next one we have is a very, very strange one. It's called the Type 821, and it's kind of like a mix between a Mac 11 and an Uzi. And normally when you hear those type of weapons, you immediately think really fast fire rate and garbage range. It's the opposite with this weapon. This one has high damage, good range, and a slower rate of fire. Now, its magazine size is 30, and it's just kind of a strange weapon. When you pick this thing up, you don't expect it to hit like a truck, and it does. So it ends up being actually a pretty decent gun, but it's rare that you get these SMGs with a slow fire rate that just hit really hard. It's a strange weapon, but it just kind of works. Now, the final SMG that we have is my personal favorite, and I think most of the people who played the game, it was their favorite. It's the AK-74U. And this weapon was just kind of good at everything. It had very low recoil, really good damage, good rate of fire, iron sights were good. On top of that, I was using a drum magazine with it to bump its magazine size up by 10, so normally it's 30. I had a 40 round magazine, and it's just a good weapon. There's really not much more I can say other than that. It's nice. It kind of reminds me of the AK-74U back from Call of Duty 4, which was a beast back then, and it's a beast now. So whether the weapon balancing changes in future versions like the beta, I don't know, but when we played, definitely one of the best weapons. So after this, we move into a new class of weapons called tactical rifles. Essentially, these are marksman rifles from Modern Warfare, so they're the ones that are semi-automatic or burst fire. The first of which that we have here is the M16. So the M16 is obviously a burst fire weapon. What I will say is with a limited time using it, it has very, very little burst delay. So I think with the right attachments and in the right hands, this kit thing can be a force to be reckoned with, especially if you are accurate. Now, speaking of being accurate, a weapon that was surprising to me was one called the Type 63. It's a semi-automatic rifle, and it kind of reminds me of the Auger DMR from Black Ops 4. It's a 3-bullet kill to the body, and I don't know if there's a way if you get a headshot, if it's a 2-bullet kill or anything like that, but it's a good weapon. A lot of people were using it. If you're accurate, it absolutely destroys people. So if there is a high caliber attachment in this game, which I haven't seen yet, but if there is, this is going to be a top tier weapon, just like the Auger was in Black Ops 4. Next up, we move into the LMGs, and the first one we have is the RPD, and both LMGs were actually surprising to me because I found both of them actually pretty good. First of all, the RPD only has a 45 round magazine, which for an RPD is relatively low, but it hits like a truck. It kills people incredibly quickly, and the aim down sights and sprint out times I found comparable to the assault rifles. Maybe a little bit slower, but nothing huge, so they're absolutely usable in multiplayer. So the next and final LMG that we got to use is known as the Stoner 63, and this is one that has only ever been in one other Call of Duty game, and that was Black Ops 1. Now, this gun is an interesting one. It has a really fast rate of fire for an LMG, and I believe the magazine size is 65, which is actually pretty good. Now, I don't think it is the fastest time to kill or anything, but I will say it was probably the weapon that I did the best with. Now, I don't think it's the best weapon, but it's good, and it was interesting to see a couple of LMGs that were actually really good in game. So I'm curious, as they add more once the game's actually released, how good the rest of the LMGs will be as well. So after this, we move into sniper rifles. The first one we're looking at here is the LW3 Tundra, which really reminds me of the L96 from Black Ops 1. If you played that game, it feels very, very similar. Now, to get this out of the way, snipers are really, really good in this game. It feels like they use the Black Ops aim assist, where there's a little bit less aim assist, but the sniper rifles are a little bit more consistently one-hit kills. And because each character has 150 health as opposed to 100, the fact that snipers are almost always a one-hit kill means that they're really good. They have the best time to kill in the game, and if you're accurate with them, you can dominate with sniper rifles. And based off of the build that we played, I wouldn't be surprised if snipers got nerfed a little bit more. But all in all, the LW3 Tundra just reminds me of the L96 from Black Ops 1. After this, we have the Pelington 703. It was very similar to the other sniper rifle, almost always a one-hit kill. I found if you shot someone in the legs, it wasn't anything above that. You were pretty much good. Relatively easy to aim, quick aim down sights time. All in all, the snipers were just good. That's pretty much all I can say about them. Moving on to secondary weapons, and yes, there is something like overkill where you can use 2 primary weapons. We'll talk about that in today's later video. But the first secondary weapon we have is the 1911. I barely used this weapon. I didn't even really shoot anyone with it. I literally shot it at a wall. So not really much I can say about this one, but here it is. The next pistol we have is called the Diameti, or however you pronounce that. Essentially, this is the Raffica from Modern Warfare 2. If you've ever used one of these before, it's a 3-round burst pistol. This one I found to be actually pretty good. I didn't see anything for akimbo, but that that may be put in later. Like I said, we only got access to about half the attachments, but all in all, a pretty good pistol. Now, you may be wondering why we haven't talked about any shotguns yet. Well, in this game, shotguns are secondary weapons. It's kind of transitioned between the two from different Call of Duty games, but in Cold War, they are secondary weapons. The first one we have here is the Gallo SA-12, which is basically like the SPAS-12. It is semi-automatic, which means you can fire it over and over again, and has a pretty damn fast fire rate. From my experience, it was pretty good. It's a little bit of a pea shooter, so you just kind of have to keep shooting at people and spam it. But all in all, I will say it does pretty much feel like a secondary weapon. The second shotgun we have is a pump-action shotgun called the Hauer 77. I hated this thing. I pretty much got hit markers every time I shot someone with it, even if I was right down their throat. I think I got one kill with this thing the entire time, and just was not a big fan of it whatsoever. Like I said, just a pea shooter, hit markers out of pretty much every shot I hit. And last but definitely not least, we have a rocket launcher called the Sigma 2. Now, this is kind of like a Strela. It locks onto vehicles, or you can just shoot it at people if you want. I didn't spend much time actually shooting it at people. It locks on pretty damn quickly, good at taking out vehicles that are in various ground war games or kill streaks, things along those lines. We will talk more about vehicles later today in the second video, but as for right now, that is the final weapon. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, this is probably, I would guess, about half of the weapons that'll be in the final game. Generally, there's about double of this, but this is everything that we know of and was in the build of the game that we were able to play. I just wanted to bring them to you, show them to you guys, hear from you. So let me know what you think about these weapons. What one looks good to you? What one looks bad? What's missing? I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say, and also about the time to kill compared to what you see in Modern Warfare. Do you think the kind of longer one's a little bit better? Do you dislike that? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed the video, it is always appreciated if you hit that like button. If you're new here, like what you see, be sure to hit the subscribe button, turn notifications on, all that good crap. We have many, many more Black Ops Cold War videos coming today and throughout the rest of the week, so stay tuned. But as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.